People is basically the heart of a company. If you don't invest in the heart of your company, somewhere in the future you'll break and etc.
Welcome to Stayconomics, the podcast for people who are done pretending turnover is just a part of the business. We're talking the real economics of keeping great humans. Each episode, we will unpack the psychology, the money, and the messy reality behind why people stay or leave before you even know their last name. Expect bold opinions, practical takeaways, and a lot of finally someone said it. So grab a coffee, cancel that pointless meeting, and join us in reinventing how staying actually works. Follow Side Up for more.
Hi, welcome to Stayconomics, Side Up podcast on why people decide to stay or they choose to leave. We explore recognition, motivation, and why great talent decides to stay. So for today's podcast, we are discussing in more detail attraction and retention in the tech sector. Side Up is an employee benefits company that improves relationship between employers and employees through benefits. So we offer student loan repayment, flexible lifestyle spending options, and much more. So for today's episode, we'll be exploring attraction and retention in the tech sector. And for that, I would like to bring some data. So first, 51% of employees were either watching or actively seeking for a new job, which is a strong signal of ongoing retention risk. This is according to Gallup. And another one from Linux Foundation. Almost 20% of newly onboarded technical staff are leaving within the first 6 months, which is a huge concern. So to discuss that in more detail, I would like to introduce Natália and Gabriel, which are experts in talent attraction and retention. Natália and Gabriel are the founding partners of Trust, a boutique recruitment firm focused on the new economy. Between the two of them, they bring over a decade of combined experience placing talent across fintech, financial services, tech, VC-backed companies in Brazil, US, UK. And before launching Trust, they led and built the same practice together under a different brand and made the decision to take it forward independently under a name and identity that better reflects what they've always stood for. So Natália comes from a background in total rewards and recognition. She started her career at Korn Ferry's advisory practice, working on reward strategy, organization design, and leadership development. And that foundation also shaped how she thinks about talent, not just who fits the role, but whether the company's proposition is coherent enough to attract and keep the right person. Her focus on Trust today is executive search in financial services, product finance, and also commercial leadership. And Gabriel has spent his career at the intersection of tech recruitment and the tech startup ecosystem. He built deep expertise placing engineering, data, security, and infrastructure talent. Over the years, developed a strong network across VC funds and their portfolio companies in Brazil, London, and the US. At Trust, he leads the tech and new economy practice. And by the way, they are our partners for talent attraction and retention for Side Up as well. Please, I don't know if you would like to introduce yourselves. I said something, but feel free to introduce yourselves as well. And also bring your thoughts around how the market has been changing in attracting and retention, especially for tech, because we've seen so much happening in the last years after COVID. AI is reshaping everything. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ju. So, you sold myself better than me, so I just would like to provide you some relevant information. So, as you told us, I've been spending almost a little bit more than 10 years on the recruitment side and helping the most relevant venture-backed startups across the globe and in Brazil in order to create solid tech teams. So we've been building some partnerships with the most relevant as well, venture-backed firms across the globe. And here am I.
Yes, and thank you, Julia, too. Yes, I don't know if I could say anything better than you did, but yeah, that's we are building something really good and that we really trust. Working with companies from new economy, it's something that we really enjoy doing and enjoy learning because everything is really changing all the time, and that's what we like to do and help these founders and also another executives to bring good hires and candidates here. So it's a pleasure to be here and talking more about it.
Perfect. It's a very fast changing market, right?
Yes.
Working with technology must be crazy.
Yeah.
As a technology company, we can say that, but you can compare different startup stages from startups to corporate and see how that have been happening. And one thing we've seen in the market today is that not only the companies are looking for the right candidates, but the exceptional candidates, they're also looking for the right company, right? So how do you see that companies understand how much they are being evaluated by the candidates they're looking for or not? Like what the companies don't realize that they are being evaluated on?
It's funny and maybe hard sometimes for executives and companies that was built for a long time ago, for example, because the market changed a lot. So nowadays, it changed a little bit, and also the generation changed. So what they evaluate for a company is completely different than before. It's not just a job for a job or something like this. It's a job that they have to trust. They have to really understand what they are doing and why they are doing. So I feel that in the last years, the company started to understand better it, but the employees are also understanding better about the leadership, about the culture of the company, understanding if what they say is exactly what they are doing in the company. And so I think the candidates are also evaluating the leadership and everything. So when we are talking about a competitive market, the candidates start to evaluate a company instead of just a company evaluate a candidate. So so that is what I can see on my perspective.
I think there are three major points that leads professionals to evaluate companies properly. So the first one would be how impactful your product is, how reliable, how scalable this application could be, how this product can impact the market in a way that you can, handle thousands and even millions of customers. And the second point would be, impactful markets leads to disruption. So how disruptive your product could be considering the landscaping that you are immersed on, So in disruption is not a matter of, what you're doing. It's a matter of how. So loads of markets have been trying to disrupt in a different way, but the key is how can you solve the same problems in a different way? And this would be something that technology professionals have been seeking in terms of next challenge of their careers. And the last one, and I think this one in the past couple of years haven't been that important, but what kind of technology in best practices of architecture these companies are having nowadays. So there was a time like back in the past that, JVM technologies were like booming. So Kotlin, Spring Boot with Java and etc. And the past couple of years, like 5 years ago, Golang was like must. And nowadays talents are seeking for Rust and etc. etc. So again, there's a matter of understanding if this product is impactful on the market. Secondly, how disruptive this solution is to the market. And lastly, what kind of tools you're using to solve those problems. So I would say like these three topics would be something that engineers and technical professionals have been paying attention at.
Is there something specifically that you've seen that companies are doing to generally attract tech talent to them?
it quite depends on the stage of growth these companies are. So for instance, when it comes to seed startups, normally founders have to sell the dream. What would be the big dream that make professionals work with me? And for Series A companies, normally those companies have already their MVP. So there's a matter of finding the right tools in order to scale, in order to leverage their applications to thousands, even millions of users. And normally, when it comes to Series A stage of growth, is that moment when professionals starts to leave the company. Why? Because sometimes the communication across the whole areas of the company starts to, miss. And sometimes the founders lose control about communication, about how to guide the strategy with the whole stakeholders area that they've got. So again, it quite depends on the stage of these companies are facing lately. And of course, as long as those companies start to grow, the more complex the challenges are. And that's the key point that makes some successful cases in the venture-backed landscape and those ones that went to bankruptcy, for instance.
How could you keep your message clear to all the employees and your culture clear to all the new employees and everything? So I think this is the biggest thing and what is hardest for founders, for example, considering when you have a small team, it's really easy to bring their what is the mission and why they are here and the purpose and everything. And maybe also the founders are growing with the company. It's completely different. And maybe the company could grow even more than the employee, for example. So maybe things have to change in a small time, and maybe you have to deal with that. So with the frustration of the employee, for example. So it's really hard, like these fast-growing companies, how to keep this mission clear for everybody and how to attract the best talents when everything is changing and you have to deal with a lot of frustration from all of the sides, So, but I think the companies that had done it better would be companies that could have could bring the clearest way to the message, to the mission, to everybody, so everybody could keep going to their strategy.
It's interesting because it's not only about the challenge of how big the company gets after so many investment rounds and increasing the size of the team, but there is also a cross-cultural challenge in global companies, and I can say that. For SideUp itself, we are a small company, still around 20 employees working with us. But we have people working from the US, UK, Brazil. So we don't have the challenge of the size yet, but we have the challenge of the culture difference, right? And I understand that for scale-ups that are looking for the international market, not only the size of the company becomes a challenge in the middle of the way, but also how you can replicate the culture from the beginning to something completely new, right? And with people with different backgrounds and experiences.
We've been seeing in the past couple of years that loads of markets across the globe have been becoming more well-rounded in terms of best practices to develop some new technologies, So I had this experience with Natália and a couple of clients of ours. They decide to hire in different places in order to get the experiences of those talents in different landscapes in terms of technology. So a couple of months ago, we started working with a company from Honduras, and we didn't know that there was a kind of Silicon Valley there named Próspera.
I wasn't aware about that.
Yeah, and since they are like a different kind of market, it's an island, and loads of companies go there to build up from the ground their applications and software, and they started to hire talents across the globe to get the best successful cases that each country has. And in Brazil, we have loads of companies that succeed in terms of developing some really fancy technologies that have been serving even thousands of millions of customers. And, this has been quite awfully to happen in the past couple of years.
Yeah. We can create a completely episode around how diversity impacts productivity, right?
Yeah.
And how it's positive for the company culture itself.
Yeah.
Something that we did not mention yet, but I believe has been shaped the changes in market in the last years as well is AI. So one data that I have here, traditional IT job listings have fallen by 27%, while AI-related job postings have increased by 68%. At the same time, Linux Foundation projects a 21% net positive hiring effect from AI adoption in 25, and 23% is projected for 2026, which it's data that contradicts the fear of the job loss itself. How do you see that AI has been reshaping not only the hiring process itself, but how AI is reshaping talent demand and the candidate expectations as well?
I mean, AI is the hype nowadays, right? And I believe we can split this question up to two answers. First one, in a candidate perspective. So basically nowadays, companies are encouraging candidates to use AI during technical assessments, for instance. And normally, those ones who knows properly how to use Gen AI to sometimes revise a code or for sometimes get some tips about architecture or even which tool or technology is best to solve this problem, companies are encouraging them to use it. But there is a bottleneck that we've been seeing a couple of times in the past 6 months, I would say, is that candidates are using AI as their brains. Sometimes the companies get this, and of course they fail during the technical assessments. So I would say that candidates are using it, companies are encouraging them to use it, but candidates are using it in a bad way as well. And companies are using AI to get some candidates that are using AI in a whole to solve like technical problems. So this would be like in a candidate perspective. There is a market and, product perspective as well that since, again, AI isn't a hype nowadays, companies are using it as a sales pitch. So some companies from the SaaS landscape, they are trying to change their positioning in order to tell the investors, oh, I'm cool. I'm using AI nowadays, And of course, there are some of them that succeed and some of them that not, because there is a matter of adapting the environment, technically speaking, to have AI as an internal tool, for instance. And normally, the ones that succeed are the hugest ones. And, some digital accounts and banks, for instance, they're using like chatbots, using LLMs and etc. in order to attend their customers. But this would be like a tiny piece of their product that allows the company to provide a great experience for those customers. So I would divide it in those two perspectives. One, candidate's perspective, and two, product and market perspective.
And one thing that is really important too, is the companies that the point to change to AI perspective, for example, for the companies don't have AI sometimes reminds me the digital transformation times. So everybody's really excited about, everybody wants to bring AI to the company and how could I be more productive? How could I bring new product working with AI? But AI would be the way to build your product, the way to AI, it's not the end, So I think we are in the time really close to the digital transformation that the solution for everything would be bring an app for your business. But the app wasn't the end. Maybe you could have a digital product working with WhatsApp, for example, and you don't need an app or a website, for example, that brings what you need for a client. It's not exactly the app. So AI is exactly the same. So I think nowadays what is good is understand what the company really needs AI. What would be the first strategy to bring AI to the company? Okay, so nowadays I will bring more in a productive way here for all of my employees, and we will start working on this. Because if you have a fixed mindset culture, for example, would be really hard for you to work with AI because I don't know if you all try it once to ask something and also ask for someone from your team. Ask something to the AI. The answer would be completely different. So it depends. The way that you are asking it, the way that you are working on this would be completely different. So if someone was taught to work, for example, with right answers and everything, okay, this is the process, this is the right answer, probably they will work on the same way with the AI. So if the AI brings you a question, you wouldn't ask them if it's right or not or correct them. So
it's a new paradigm right now.
Yeah.
So I believe that companies are not prepared yet to really understand what would be the power of AI.
Everybody's learning about it.
Yeah. So
everybody's learning together. What is it? So I think my advice for all of the companies would be, first of all, just finish with the fixed mindset of your team because your company couldn't improve with any new technology without with a fixed mindset, right? Yes, I think everybody's learning with AI. That is the truth. I think the AI professionals are getting way more competitive who really works with AI product. So this is a bit different than everybody that use AI for productivity or things like this. But they are really competitive here in Brazil, US, and all of the globe. But yeah, I think everybody's learning what they really need.
Do you think candidates are also, they are looking for companies that in a way are able to make them relevant in the AI market?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, again, there are several companies that went from a SaaS perspective in Latescape, and then suddenly they become like AI native companies, in order to, in an employee value proposition perspective, they are trying to be fancy and, of course, to be more attractive for those talents. So it happened a couple of years ago, the same thing with the Web3 market. So by 2019 until 2022, more or less, there were like a boom of Web3 market when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to crypto assets, metaverse, and etc. And candidates started to be like, okay, I want to be part of it. Everybody's talking about Bitcoins, Ethereums, and etc. So what kind of technology, software, and tools people are using lately that I could be like part of it? And I think the AI world is repeating the same history the Web3 market had a couple of years ago. And again, candidates want to be part of it. And what kind of technology and new solutions the market is creating that I could be like a contributor and be part of it, So it is indeed an employee value proposition to work with AI in order to be attractive. And again, they want to be like the company that changed the way the market has been seen in terms of product, employee value proposition, and so on.
The employees, they want to be part of something new and they want to learn through the process, right? They see the company as a way to be upskilled as well, not only
Yeah.
as a job itself, but a place where they can learn and develop themselves. Also in AI, right, and be part of the wave.
Yeah.
I want to shift a little bit the topic to where companies go wrong in attraction, because we've talked about, okay, pay compensation is not enough. People are looking for flexibility. They are looking for benefits. They are looking for hybrid work. They are looking for learning and development, upskilling opportunities as well. What do companies still misunderstand about attracting and retaining talent in the tech sector today, considering all of these factors that we've mentioned already?
I think there is a matter of, again, which stage is this company facing nowadays? For seed companies, pre-seed companies, normally the founders don't understand how to create value to the team, how to communicate the value that they are trying to make to the market. And sometimes it's a matter of not offering potentially stock options or even benefits for those professionals. And to be like really precise of what you would like to offer to your employees and what I would like to offer to the market. So this would be basically, in my perspective, in my opinion, the seed environment in that way. For Series A, again, sometimes the MVP is more well-rounded and the company is growing, and depending on the kind of product this company is insert of in terms of market, they are trying potentially to open some new markets. So we've been seeing the market like Series A companies that created their MVPs and started to create some new products. And sometimes this strategy starts to be confused and the teams starts to be like disseminated in different areas. And again, communication would be a problem. And the ones that were like founding teams sometimes start to not be as relevant as they were by the beginning of the project, because, the team starts to grow and grow. So retention is like a bottleneck, is something that every single startup across the globe will face it. And sometimes it's not about communication, but about how to communicate to the market and to the team. And of course, to offer proper benefits and of course, how to make those benefits being seen by those employees, So I would say something like this.
Yes, I think it's a clear message, so many times the company don't have self-awareness of what they really are and what they really want for the company and to the culture. So I think it's really important to understand since the beginning and re-understand it when the business is changing, the market is changing, because many times the situations could change. So Gabriel gave us an example of a Series A company, but when we are working with a Series C company, maybe they have a lot of VC funds working with them and asking them for a lot of different things. And the founding team is responsible to bring these results to the VC companies, for example. So maybe the culture could change, depends of what they need to bring to the VCs and the funds and everything.
Sorry
I think
to interrupt, but just to get if I'm in the right understanding as well. So the pressure of the size of the company, the investment funds and all of that can change the way culture is set and then impact the talent retention.
Exactly. And maybe the company is growing and they are bringing the last message that they have in the beginning, for example, when it was different times or things like this. And this frustration that makes the employee go away and don't bring good message of the company and things like this. So I think this clear message to attract a person and this consistency consistency. Okay, this is our culture now. So nowadays we have to work really close to meritocracy. So this is the new culture. Everybody will be super rich in 5 years or things like this. Or no, nowadays I have a culture of wealth. So everybody will have a lot of benefits and things like this. And this is our culture because maybe we could bring the results in another way or things like this. So this consistency is really important to attract. And maybe the leadership sometimes is a little bit afraid to say the truth, or maybe also just think about the truth. So it's better. So on this way, you could attract people that are really on the same page as you and really enjoy a culture like this. So on this way, you could also have people more close to your culture. So I think that's it. That maybe we have this mistake, but maybe it's a little bit of they don't have a self-awareness. I think it's not a really, I'm really thinking about this and I'm doing because I want it. No, it's just because I didn't stop to think about what culture should I need nowadays for this time of market or things like this. And so they don't think about it and then don't have conversations about it, and people get frustrated about it. So I think this is one thing that they don't really think when attracting someone.
You've mentioned meritocracy culture specifically, and we see that a lot in the tech sector, right?
Yes.
It's not a problem to have a meritocracy culture, but it's a problem when you do not connect that with rewards and recognition system, right? So you can track and evaluate this meritocracy culture if you are selling that to the employees, right?
Yes, for sure. And then you have candidates that are on this time of moment of their careers, this time of their life or things like this. Everybody is different. They're people. Yeah. Right. So, and also our work is exactly this: understand what is the moment of the candidate and also of the company. It's not right or wrong, so we don't have to evaluate it. It's what moment could fit with the other moment. Yeah.
In the tech sector today, what ultimately matters more for retention? Salary or culture? I think we've just discussed that a lot, right? Where do you think that balance has shifted in the last years?
Yeah, I think it salary should bring the culture to the table. So the compensations brings a message to everybody. So it's incentive. So if you have a long-term incentive, short-term incentive, benefits and everything. So at the beginning of my career, I just, everybody just was telling me, okay, salary gives a message and compensation gives a message. And this is really important because if you want to have a meritocracy company, you have to bring long-term incentives, short-term incentives, and it should be really aggressive on this. So this is the culture, you know. So your culture is getting this kind of incentive, for example, for your employees, and also while you bring benefits, for example, to employees that are on this moment of their lives, for example. So I think it should be the same. Salary and total compensation benefits should be part of the culture. And this should be consistency. And we have a strategy for this, for example.
I have some data here that talks with what you've just said from MIT, actually. So MIT's loan management review found that a toxic corporate culture is 10 times more powerful than compensation in predicting a company attrition rate and turnover. And at the same time, especially for the new generations, 69% of Gen Z workers explicitly prefer a good company culture over a higher salary. So even if compensation is good, even if compensation says something about the company, and compensation is important, right? Like we all have bills to pay, bills to pay, and
we are
and all of
millennials,
that.
so for us it's a bit more important.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So you cannot rely on culture only, but for sure we don't want to spend 8 hours or 10 hours, 12 hours of our day working for something that we do not believe in, right? Or that we do not fit with the environment, or we do not feel comfortable with our coworkers and all of that. So it has a higher impact in Gen Z
Yes.
than in millennials or
Yeah.
the previous
Mhm.
generation. So
It's true.
Yeah, we've been seeing a couple of times candidates that prefer to earn less money
okay.
and potentially go to another companies that has a stronger culture, especially when it comes to startups. So there are several banks here in Brazil that have cultures that make people leave, and normally those ones prefer to go to those startup ecosystem because not only they have like a culture that they believe, but the thesis of their products fits best the moment of their lives and etc. So again, it's not about money. It's about the fit and the professional moment and the personal moment of that
Yeah.
those professionals have been, immersed on. So yeah, I think this is something tricky because it happens quite often for those ones that have a structured life, some the senior ones especially, then they basically they are not like pursuing to earn loads of money as they have been a couple of years ago. They are trying to find a mission. They are trying they are trying to find something that fills them, that completes them. So yeah, I think it's not about money.
Yeah. And also, like if they have family, children, sometimes they do not want to live in a big city anymore or have a chaotic work time as
Yeah.
as they were interested or able to have in the past. They would rather like have a more flexible job, even though it doesn't have the same compensation, but
Yeah.
that gives them more freedom and quality of life to focus on what's important for them and in
Yeah.
that moment, right?
Yes.
To be near to the family and etc. Nowadays, tech talents are extremely sensitive considering hybrid model versus remote model and etc. So there was a case of ours internally at Trust that we created a kind of like a metric considering how engaged candidates could be considering that how many times they go to the office. So the closer you are to the 2 or 3, the less would be your turn considering her process. The closest you are to the 4 or 5, and of course 5 will be like full-time job in the office and etc. The higher will be like the churn. So candidates are extremely sensitive about it, and sometimes they rather to not participate in hiring process because of the setup of work, hybrid or even full-time. And this is something that companies are losing actually loads of candidates because of this. And we've been feeling it really closely, right, Nat?
Yes. And it's not a right or wrong. It's always a trade-off. So when we start a job with a company and maybe it's a global message to every office and they don't have a choice about it. And I think our job is to say, okay, you have a trade-off here. It's not that you won't find someone good, but it could take more time to bring because you would compete with others that are considering remote first companies or things like this. So when we talk to engineering positions or mid-level of marketing and digital positions, it's really hard to bring people to the office, for example. And yeah, the point is it's not right or wrong. Like every company has their culture and what they believe. The point is it could take longer or less depending of how urgent would be this job and everything. So our job is just to tell it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will try to find it, but it would take a little bit longer.
Then
Considering this, but
yeah.
considering the marketing that you are competing with.
Yeah, regulated market specifically, they need for those ones to be at the office.
Yeah, banking,
And
financial
banking,
services.
financial services, fintechs, and so on. So
It's not
sometimes,
common.
yeah, I mean, it quite depends on the culture, of course, but there's a matter of regulation and compliance and stuff that make people go to the office. And this is like a rule. And this make candidates drop their jobs and find further opportunities. But again, it's not a, it's a trade-off. It's not a matter of, as not mentioned, of what is wrong and what is correct. It's a matter of trade-offs and strategy and regulations and so on.
But sometimes they are more competitive than some candidates goes to positions like this, considering benefits, considering the compensation, because they are more aggressive. So it's always a balance, right? So if you don't have something, you have to have another strategy to work on this, that you're not so good on this. So maybe you should be greater here with the culture or maybe with the money. So we are in the beginning, so you don't have so much money to bring to your candidate. After that, maybe you have, but not the best culture. So how would be this strategy, right? So it's important to think about.
Yeah, we were talking about this balance in between culture, compensation, and benefits, and how this impacts also the time for hiring someone new that might be looking for flexibility. It might be a great fit for the company, but it doesn't match with the personal timing of that person. Are there like specific benefits that you've seen as attractive for candidates today? Again, we've talked about flexibility. Someone with a family, children might be interested in having some kind of childcare or education support. Are there specific benefits you've seen that are attractive to candidates? Not only in Brazil, okay, like all over US, UK. I know you've been working with companies from all over the world.
When it comes to technology professionals, I've been seeing that to provide them with a good setup to work remotely, this increases their, not only motivations, but that makes them feel part of the team. So for instance, normally developers, they have like their tables, and it's good to send them like a, mouse pads, chairs, to invest some money to provide them with a good network, as well as to provide them all perks that they need to really, work properly. And the same way, we have like some companies that make professionals go to the office. They don't offer like transportation benefit. So there is a matter of adjusting what the professionals requires, and considering the way and what and where they are working on. And of course, when it comes to technology, remote and hybrid modeling, companies normally offer the setup and all the perks required for those ones to work from their homes. So yeah, those sort of benefits, I would say, like, are must for those ones who work, specifically for those ones who work remotely.
And also health insurance is really important, I think, for many executives, for example, considering if they could bring the family, child, and everything to the health insurance is something really important. And there is a benefit that is really important for everybody, and I think it's really important to rotation. That would be education. So MBA for executives, for example, that they goes to another place to study, to Harvard, Stanford, and everything, and after that they have to still in the company for 3 years to pay this investment for the company. So it's a big investment for companies. Also here in Brazil, for example, that would be more expensive, but it's a really good strategy working with rotation, and also studies. The people, the employee feels that the company is really worry about it. I feel always that someone has benefits working with that is really close to education, for example. It's kind of a build trust with the company and the employee. I think education is a different benefit,
embraced.
Yes.
Like, I believe in you, so I'm gonna give you like an education benefit because I know you can develop yourself. And support the company after that as well.
Yes.
Right?
And there's a matter of, deserve it as well. So there are some companies that, as long as you keep with them, with the company that you were working for, the more benefits you will receive. So for instance, Natália mentioned that some companies, traditional ones specifically, they offer MBAs for those professionals there that work for them. it takes a while for those ones to deserve it.
Yeah.
And of course, we are talking about this in extreme situation when the MBA would be like, I don't know, thousands and thousands of dollars, but it happens the same with benefits that are not that expensive, and specifically for those ones that stay longer with the companies. So there's a matter of stay with me, I trust you, so you deserve it.
It's not only money, not only a benefit, but it's a recognition, right?
Recognition,
It's we are strengthening the bond of trust in between the employer and the
Even
employee.
remote modeling, it works the same as well. For instance, we have a client in our portfolio that some professionals that stayed longer, like 6 years with them, okay, you can work remotely. I trust you. There are some other examples of candidates that we've hired that by the beginning they were working like for four times a week. As long as they are providing them with some trust, okay, you can work from home from 4 times to twice a week, for instance. So again, trust, and this takes time to develop, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to develop trust. I think this is the biggest challenge also, like for employers and employees. One of the challenges when when we were building SideUp as a company and thinking about, okay, what can we do different as a benefits company, is that, okay, I might have an employee that works remotely, but I might have one that prefers to work from the office. So I cannot offer the work from home setup to Natália if she's working at the office or the other way around. And we were concerned about, okay, how much can I personalize the experience for the employee as well? Because everybody has different needs, right? Everybody understand benefits in a different way. So I don't know, I would rather spend my benefits with wellness, with work from home as well, because I work remotely. But I'm not interested in getting, I don't know, childcare support right now. But maybe Natália or you would be interested in getting that. So this was something that we took in consideration also for SideUp when talking to employers. One of the biggest challenges when offering benefits, it's okay, I'm investing in this, so I want my employees to make use of these benefits, right? I don't want to just spend money on this.
Yep.
So there is this flexibility factor that we take in consideration as well. Like everybody has different needs, right? And actually, depending on the kind of benefit you offer to your employee, you can get tax savings on that. So, for example, if you offer the education tuition, there is a limit that you can get tax savings on that, not only for you but for the employee as well. The same for childcare, work from home, depending on the state. In the US, you can get a tax exemption. In the UK as well. So it makes the difference not only in a satisfaction perspective from the employee, but also if you think about like finances. Okay, how much am I actually really like getting back like with when offering benefits? Not only in satisfaction, engagement, but is it financially like worth it? Yeah. It is. Yeah.
There's a matter of geography as well, right? So can you imagine to work in London? Like how many metro stations you've got? You if you have to visit a client, for instance, I'm sure that there will be a station in there that you can go to visit this client, right? So maybe people from UK and United States, I don't know, but maybe they require more transportation benefits compared to Brazil, for instance. And to be flexible could be good in this sort of situation, right?
Yeah. You can actually get like public transportation and like full benefit itself for like gas station or petrol.
Good.
So yeah. We talked about education. And I want to come back to that point because we see that upskilling is one of the most effective ways to retain technical talent. But in practice, like what really separates the companies that are using this learning as a real retention strategy to those that are just offering this as a benefit or as a perk, what differentiates the companies that make it a strategy or just use it as a perk?
Good. I have a good example of this. There is a company that I worked for almost 4 years, a digital account, and there are some problems that they were facing, technically speaking, that the team wasn't prepared. And they had like a partnership with a kind of e-learning school that they addressed the problems that they were facing with some upskilling learning trainings that this company could provide. So I think that nowadays companies are more likely to provide upskilling and training for those professionals, considering the problems that they are facing.
Okay.
So, and this comes to how companies evaluate candidates as well. So just a quick perception here. There are some companies that, let's say that they are looking for a full stack engineer. They create like a technical assessment that don't address the problems that they are facing. And this would be like the same situation for upskilling for those technical professionals. What kind of problem we are living nowadays that I have to prepare my professionals to face it? So I think this will be like the main thing that I've been seeing a couple of months considering the market, specifically when it comes to venture-backed startups.
For the next years, I think we wouldn't have no other way until if we don't training our employees, considering the changings of the market. So learning agility just started to be a competency, the most important competency that we have to evaluate on candidates. So when the candidates had this learning agility, for example, because you already know new technologies will come in the next years. AI is getting so big and things are changing so much. So the biggest thing is bring new hires that has learning agility, because you need it, and train and upskilling them, because if you always have to hire new people and everything, it would get really expensive. So just bring this culture of learning and training and develop everything that you already have in your house, and bring new hires to improve it and bring new culture and new points of views of the market and things like this. So I think there is no way
because potentially in the next 5 years, we will have to trash away like all the knowledge that we've got.
Yes.
So especially with this AI word, I think people are not prepared yet, as I've mentioned, considering how fast the market could be in terms of skills improvement, in terms of learning agility, as Natália mentioned. So there is a matter of adapt themselves of the velocity that the market requires. I was watching like a podcast from another big executive from a huge bank here in Brazil, and she said, one of the most complex problems I have to face nowadays is that I can't love and I can't like be passionate about the things that I learned like a year ago. Because the market is changing dramatically and you have to cope with it.
Also, our market, the way that recruitment was made, for example, 5 years ago is completely different than nowadays. Because before this new companies, startups and everything, in this boom that just started maybe 10 years ago, the companies really knows what they need, what they want. It was an executive that it was already on that job working on this, and you have to change this executive, for example, but this position already exists since 20 years ago, for example. Nowadays, it's completely different. So the way we hire someone is considering the moment that someone just lived before, and not the keywords of the CV of someone. Is what cases of what experiences that could match with the experience, and also the moment of this company, and not exactly the CV word or things like this would say that someone would perform on this position. So also our market is completely different. We have this problem sometimes when we hire someone that was really used to companies that are big companies and things like this. When you start to work with startups and new economies, it's different. You have to hire the moment that someone lived it and what did they perform, and not just the job description or the title of the position, So everything is changed. And one thing that is really important for us is have this kind of culture on our team. So everybody always have to like to learn and have this learning agility. Okay, we have a new AI. Let's try to use it to understand better this market, or maybe improve our searches or our communication skills with the client, or influence something. So it's really important to bring this culture. We are doing it. I think it's the most important thing, and you have to just give up of our ego and the ego of everybody. So I think this is the hardest part for everybody, and it's stop this ego that don't make us learn new things. And that it's not good to learn new things. Our ego. So
There's a matter of curiosity, a couple of markets when they start to transform, loads of solutions just pop up. And you have to be pickier to understand which of those ones would fit best my situation, my business model, and what we are facing lately. And there's a matter of, tryouts, understand which AI would be best for my business model, but to be curious, what are the marketing doing to solve this specifically topic? And the micro SaaS landscape brought this dramatically a couple of years ago. Instead of trying to solve thousands of problems, let's try to be real good on this point. And this AI have been, providing us with this, let's be an expert in that point. I don't care about point X or Y. I want to be your note taker to evaluate the interviews that your team has been making a couple of, in this past several years, So to be curious, to be pickier, and to be really, to have the thirst, to have the anger, and to pursue the challenges, is something that really, really care about.
Message here is clear, lifelong learning, upskilling, education. They are not part of a retention strategy only, right? They are part of the survival strategy of the company. You need to upskill and educate yourself more and more. So perfect. We are talking how much upskilling can actually engage people to stay more, but in a different perspective. If you imagine an employee is already disengaged, how long before employees quit? Have they already mentally checked out? And where do leaders fail during that window? Because what the market says, and what we've seen with Side Up experience, and also some research from Gallup, is that employees typically spend 6 to 12 months thinking about what they're doing next and actually seeking for opportunities before they do something about it, right? Once the company understands that employee is disengaged, how can they save this employee, right? Is there something to turn this decision around?
When a headhunter comes to them with a message and change their mind to go to a new position. I'm kidding. That's exactly the time that we come.
Potentially, the founder will be something will be nagging his mind, this one is a little bit suspicious. He just disappeared during a daily.
Something's going on here.
Yeah,
You get the feeling.
It's not really.
Especially for seed and Series A startups, you have to be like skin in the game, you know? You have to be like really close to every single situation that the company is having in terms of challenges, you know? So normally the founder that is really close to the team, he will notice it before the professional goes away. And there are some plans that this founder or even an executive can do in order to retain this talent. So new incentives in a long term to understand if this one is facing personal problems that is not on his radar, and etc. So there are some strategies that you can pursue in order to, okay, bro, you can go away. Let's, make it in a good way, in a soft way, or not. I need this talent. Yes. I need this one to be part of my team. Let's do our best in order to retain him,
You've mentioned that sometimes things are going on that we are not aware about. I don't remember the number exactly, but we see that financial stress, it's like one of the main causes of distraction and disengagement at work as well. So it's not necessarily related to the role or the position that person is playing in the company or what's going on in the company itself, but family stress, financial stress, debt, student debt, like anything can be a factor here, right?
Yes, and one thing I think it's really important is build this culture of trust. So if you give to your employee this culture of trust and they can tell everything that they are thinking about, so things that make them worry, and then in the one-on-ones they are open to talk about personal things and also about good feedbacks or bad feedbacks to the company and what is not working for him. And I think it's hard, but you don't have to worry about lose everybody. You have to worry about lose someone that is really a match, because nobody will be a match forever. And that's okay, So maybe the company is changing, is growing, and someone that was a match last year, for example,
it's not
anymore.
Yep.
And would be better for you and for the employee. It's like a relationship. So it's just good when it's good for both, So for example, a counter offer, I don't really believe on this, because you start to have a culture in your company to people that goes to the market, get a new offer, and then gives
like
to the leadership, hi, I have another offer, so just give me a higher salary, for example. And you start this culture. It's not a really meritocracy culture or something like this, So I think it's really important to understand, is this person someone that I really want to have in my team? And what is not working for this person, for example, for this employee? If something is not working, maybe someone wouldn't be anymore as he was or she was before. It's just a dreaming about what this person could be in your company, but it's not really anymore, and also your ego, because sometimes when you don't want someone to leave, it's just that we are not taking a rejection, This candidate was so good with the best universities, with the best companies in the CV, for example, and this employee don't want me, it's something almost personal, but it's not. It's not. It's just, it didn't make sense for them, So, and just take your egos besides you, because it wouldn't take you to the right place, So I think you should be more rational about it. And not everybody we should keep or something like this. It's just understand and what you could improve and learn with situations like this.
We've talked a lot about ego.
Yeah,
letting ego go, right? For learning, for getting the right sense of a situation when the relationship with the employee doesn't work anymore, or with the employer, and also trust. how can people build trust? You've mentioned like feedback sessions, being open to ask about what's going on, but sometimes that's not easy, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
I feel I have a trust relationship with my employers, but how can people build that from zero in a company that doesn't have like a culture of trust? How do you do that?
It's hard.
From scratch.
There is a book that I really love and we always bring to our company. That's why we are named Trust. It's a book, it's named The Trusted Advisor. And it's really, really good. It's a consultancy book, for example. But what they call is always, you have to, build trust when we are not saying something that is good just for you. So I'm saying something for you that is good for you, for example. So I just said before, okay, just improve the training of your employees instead of go to the market and start new hires. You know, it's not good for me. My business is about hiring new people. I could say here, come on, don't train anybody. Just hire every time. It would be really better for you. But on this way, I wouldn't bring trust, you know? So this is what this book brings a lot. I love this book. This book is part of our culture at Trust because, and we are on the market, in a market that many times people just advise what is better for me and not what is better for you, for example. And I think this is the way to build trust, but it's really hard in a company that don't have this kind of culture. So if I would have to make a choice, and I made this choice before in my career to always hire a leadership that I could have a trust with someone that I could feel, okay, you are telling me what is really good and not what is good for you. You know, so I think it's always was important for me, right?
There is a really good case in this book that there was like a consultant that he was really expert on the agro industry, and then he went to a meeting with a new client, and the client asked him, "Do you know like the oil and gas industry?" And he told him, "I don't, but if you give me the opportunity, I will understand this market and I will deliver the best product you ever seen in your whole life."
Yeah.
And then the client was like, "Okay, let me think about it." The second meeting, this consultant, he went to the second meeting with this new client, and the client said, "Okay, I'm only making this deal with you because you were completely transparent with me.
Yes.
This is a matter of trust, you know."
Yes.
He didn't know about the industry that this client was immersed on, but you know, trust were built in that situation. This is a really good case, right?
Yes.
Is there something that employees, candidates actually can do from the very beginning to build trust, or something that candidates could be asking in the first interview to check the,
Check it. Yeah.
Normally the candidate that knows everything, they don't know nothing. So to be honest, like, okay, technically speaking, do you know this pattern of architecture X and Y? What was the most complex project that you had the opportunity to work on? Normally candidates, when they try to lie, we know it. And
people are afraid to tell the failures, right?
Yeah.
To tell what went wrong.
And this is what connects.
Yeah.
Right. When you are vulnerable, you are connecting with someone. Right. So I think it's really important, but we have some cultures that it's not something acceptable. And I think it's a choice, you know? So personally speaking, that's one thing that I really
there's no Superman
appreciate.
or
Also with
Superwoman.
clients, right? So we have clients that we could bring this kind of partnership. It's not, oh my God, I know everything. And we don't trust on this kind of partnership, you know? So it's really important. But depends. I think it's something personal. But if it's important for someone that is hiring or will get hired, for example, for a company, it's important to understand better if the leadership is telling also not a good things and evaluate it. Okay, what is the pain points here of the area? No, the area is perfect. We are going good and good and good. Oh my God. And so why are you hiring me?
Yeah.
If everything is so good, you know? So everything is so good. You have no problems for me. So I don't want to get hired, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing to evaluate always, also with the leadership. So if the leadership really brings the reality, the problems, and the things that didn't work it well before, the trust relationship would be better. You know?
These are the problems. Would you like to join us? You know,
Yes.
to be honest, transparent. And we apply this sort of culture in a daily basis internally.
Yes.
We try to bring on the problems to our consultants in order to make them feel part of the team. Because there is no like Disneyland, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real life is completely different. And, that's like the journey to build up from the ground, like trust, the real trust, to be like transparent, to be honest, to tell people the real problems of the world,
Yeah. Talking about honesty, once the candidate is hired and it's been in the team for some time, how do you evaluate the mood of the team? At SideUp, we run ENPS services within the team and also with our clients, because it also helps us to understand what's going right, what's going wrong, and how this can shape the benefits package that they offer to the employees. But does ENPS, the employee net promoter score, can actually predict talent retention or actually just measure mood? And what do you combine it with to make real decisions? Because ENPS is a great tool for that. But are there other tools that you combine it with to make analytical decisions, data-driven solutions?
Yes. ENPS is really good because it's easy for everybody to do it, and it just take a bit. So it's really good to you to have some measurement of things and keep it every month, for example, and with a distance, and everybody, it's really easy to do it. So it's really good. And it also could predict what is going good or not so good. We have another assessments, for example, to understand better the culture, the climate of the company, and also the climate of the team, exactly, and also the leadership styles that brings another climate to the team, and how they perceive it. So would be more deep analysis, for example. But it takes money and time, and maybe not every company would be open to it. I saw before, like many companies investing a lot of money with such a big consultancies to work with these assessments, for example, but the executives didn't trust in the company that it was confidential, for example. So first of all, it's the culture of trust and bring vulnerability for the company and for the team. And after that, you could measure it in the right way, because if everybody is afraid, even the ENPS wouldn't work, for example, right? So, and it takes time to bring this culture of trust and to understand better what is happening with everybody. But it could bring to you what is working good or don't working good, and it's really easy to implement, and it don't take so much time to answer it. So it's such a good strategy. And after that, with a mature culture, when the things are going better or things like this, maybe you could invest in another assessments. Right.
Yeah. The good thing about the ENPS is that, like, one question.
Yes,
it's simple.
really easy.
It's anonymous, right? So everybody should feel secure to answer it, right? And I don't believe it's the only
one. It's
tool.
exactly like the same way of products. NPS is not the only metric that you should use to understand the view of your customer, right?
Yes.
So you could use CSAT, you could use another metrics, for example, to understand it. To employees, it's exactly the same. But it's you have to have it. Will be the first impression, and it's really easy to use it. So it helps a lot.
In a tech perspective, technology takes time to develop. And when you have like a, high turnover and you don't know why, and you have to understand what would be the main bottlenecks that the team is facing lately, you have to apply this sort of tool. So imagine that if an engineer stay in a company for like 1 year or 1 year and a half, if this application is not documented, it doesn't have like a documentation, the next one that will be sitting in this chair will be like mess. So as much as you can control your turnover with different kind of service in order to understand the bottlenecks that your team is facing lately, the better. And of course, again, in technology, to control turnover is like something that, managers and tech leads are like, man, how can I do it? How can I do it? Because if I lost this X or Y professional, it would be a completely mess.
Yeah.
Because again, it takes time to develop technology. So ENPS, another sort of service in order to understand the climate of the team is like key. Those ones are key to understand what kind of functional actions I could do in order to reduce turnover. And of course, in order to retain the talents that built up my application like 2 years ago. So this is key for technology, I would say.
We are unfortunately getting to the end of our episode, but to close that, I would like to ask you, does investing in people actually drive profit, or is it seen still as a nice to have cost? Because at least from what we've seen from side up customers and market research, that improves productivity by 20%. It can reduce turnover by 40% and also increase productivity by 17%. But what have you seen in the market? Is it a cost? Is it an investment that companies do, or it actually it comes back, Is it worth it?
Yes. What I see is the companies that understands that investing in people could bring you profit are the companies that grow it more in last years, for example. So when they understand it since the beginning, they are growing even more year by year. If they don't understand it, I don't need good people. I don't care about salary. I don't care about benefits and everything. It's just a cost for me. It looks like the business is not growing and they are not getting profit and everything. So yes, that's what happened, and not exactly what I believe. It's what happened with most of the companies.
Yeah, there's a really good phrase that says, culture eats strategy at the dinner, and every single meal that we've got, culture will eat the strategy. So culture is about caring about people, because culture is a word really related to the human being perspective, right? So as much closer you are to the culture, the closer you will be to the persons that you belongs to your team. So I would say that people is basically the heart of a company. If you don't invest in the heart of your company, somewhere in the future you'll break and etc. So I would say it's key and it's strategical to invest in people, and it comes like benefits, salary, training and development, R&D focused on people, and so goes on. So it's the heart.
Natália and Gabriel, do you have any final advice for companies that are struggling with talent retention and attraction? Is there, if you could give one advice, what would you say?
Higher learning agility.
Okay.
I would say it.
Wow, this is a tricky one. Try to summarize,
into one thing is very hard, right? Learning agility from Natália.
Yeah.
Gabriel said it. Call me to hire for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Just kidding.
people are the key. If you don't care about people, just, connecting to the last question you just asked me, if you don't care about people, you don't have a company. You have something that, generates some revenue for you. And caring about people is about hire with the proper partners to retain people with the proper keys that make those professionals work for you in a long time. And of course, if someone leaves your company, to have a good offboard as well.
Yes.
So people is the key.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It was lovely meeting you in person finally. And this was Stayconomics. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
This episode is brought to you by SideUp, the employee benefit and payment platform that's on a mission to build better relationship between employers and employees. From attracting top talent to supporting their real needs throughout the entire journey with your company, student loans, childcare, wellness, and everyday essentials, SideUp handles all the payments, the compliance, and the admin, so you can focus on being the great employer your team deserves. Because when your people feel truly supported, your business grows, driving up to 23% more profit. Book your free 15-minute demo at sideup.com.